Some of my earliest memories of realising that something wasn't quite right with Mum and her moods was quite often she'd get upset about things that were just small things, and that would affect her for days, and she'd be in bed for days or just feel really low for days. And I think it's important to know and be aware that there's a difference between feeling that way and just having a bad day.
They know from seeing their aunt particularly that they know the signs themselves, and they're sufficiently aware to look for that in themselves, I hope, and I trust their strength of character in that way.
If a family has a family history and they notice some change in people within their family and they think it might be related to depression, then it's pretty easy to determine whether the person does have depression or not.
How it might manifest: alienation, isolating oneself from a friendship group or a community, spending too much time alone, not eating, not sleeping. Insomnia is a really big factor in depressive illness.
The person may not be functioning in the way that they normally do. They may not want to go to work. They may find it hard to get out of bed. They may, I think with adolescence, you get this change in sleep pattern, which is a bit of an alert that maybe things aren't quite right.
I know the signs of depression. I've seen my mother, my sister, my uncle go through severe depression. And so it's not just a passing sorrow, it's something that it buries itself in them. It's a sadness that goes so deep that just drags their spirit away.
I think probably they're the main things. There's also changes in how they're performing at school. Sometimes there's sort of dropout from school, depending on the severity of what's happening. People not leaving home. I think sort of behaviours like that, more than anything, are going to be the keys to identifying whether there's some need to get some sort of assessment done.
I would say the first thing that you could do would be to say, to open up a conversation with a really open question. Okay, how are you feeling?
Yeah, I went to the GP, took a few times to because you gotta get a few referrals. And that's hard, because you just want to give up. You just don't want to, because it's kind of like they think you're lying, I guess. I know that's not true, but it kind of feels that way.
And if there's some kind of ambiguous response, to let that person know that how they're feeling is okay, that there's nothing wrong with how they're feeling. I'm talking about destigmatising the whole condition there, to say whatever you're feeling is really normal and really fine and really okay, and just by acknowledging it, you've taken a massive step forward in moving out of it.
If you can get that person to medical help, there are other less direct ways, and that is, say, through the internet. You can find screening questionnaires that will give people an indication of whether they're above or below a threshold. So actual screening works. You can actually tell pretty quickly whether somebody might have depressive symptoms. Of course, there's further investigation then about what type of depression they might have and the extent of it and whether it gets labelled something. So screening is one way. But, of course, the family has to be vigilant, I guess, in being able to detect that there's been a change in behaviour.
I think we as a culture need to be more attuned to that. I don't think we're very attuned to each other. We expect everybody to be feeling the way that we feel. And often, obviously, that's not the case.